Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Whew, I'm back. Govinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. I have some things I want to talk about. And I want to read a little something. Oops. From the Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Amar Srila Jai Srila Gaurahari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Okay. I don't know, there may be other members of the sanga live now, but it's fresh on my mind, so I'm not like competing with anyone. It's just I don't want to lose it, because I'll get involved in the day's activities and then it'll just disappear. And it's really fresh in my consciousness right now, so I wanted to share it. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Because Srila Gaurahari is preaching on such a purely devotional, spiritual platform, there's going to be a lot of action. Hey, Hare Krishna, Mr. Sanskrit name. Very well. There's going to be people who are attracted, and there will be people who have disbelief, and they'll raise their disbelief and their even their scorn or whatever. They'll raise all of that and challenge. But you can be guaranteed there'll be a lot of activity. And that's what we want, isn't it? Devotional activity, devotional service. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. I mean, why would you approach someone like Srila Gaurahari to get name and fame? I rather doubt it. To get a position in a big society? I rather doubt it. To make a lot of money? Not really. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Good sex life? I don't think so. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So the activity that goes on around Srila Gaurahari, the atmosphere is a devotional atmosphere. Hare Krishna, Hare, of glorifying the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the path back home, back to Godhead, the qualities, the attributes of the Lord, and they are manifest in that devotional atmosphere and in the speaker. So Srila Gaurahari is connecting through his own love and devotion and intense desire the messages of Godhead as they come through him, and that creates a whole atmosphere. And that's what happened with Srila Prabhupada also. There was an atmosphere that surrounded him. Wherever he went, that atmosphere was there. It was the atmosphere of devotional service to the Lord. And we see that in this unique personality of Srila Gaurahari. He's not imitating Prabhupada, not in the least, but he's speaking from Prabhupada's books the pure message of Godhead, which is the cyclic line. Hey, Karuna, Haribal. Get you a wave here. Boop. Hare Krishna. So one of these persons who is raising these doubts, these questions, and you can see what platform they're on. They're not on the devotional platform. The reason they have these doubts is they're situated on a lesser platform of understanding. So Karuna's been dealing with him also, this Max Køngerskov. And he's an intelligent guy, and he's attracted, but he has all these doubts, and he's raising them. So he asked this question. He said, this is Max's question. He says, the question is, can Srila Gaurahari be wrong about everything he claims to know? It's a yes or no question. These are the kinds of things that go on in Chaitanya Leela. You know, this is Chaitanya Leela. And it's actually a good question. So I was thinking, well, it's a yes or no question. Can Srila Gaurahari be wrong? Can he be wrong? So Karuna, he dealt with it. He said, could Prabhupada be wrong? Which is good. But and then also Madhusudana, it was Madhusudana who said, no, he gave a big long explanation. I would say no, he can't be wrong because he's not speaking. Krishna is speaking for him by the mercy of the true vine of our Vaishnava Sampradaya. Could you add Prabhupada be wrong? So that's a good answer. But Max said, no, I wasn't asking you, I was asking him. He must think I'm a him. A lot of people think I'm a him. Hare Krishna. I'm not a he or a she. I'm not even this body, so Haribo. So I gave him the answer. He said, yes or no. So I answered back. I said, no. I just said no. So then Max writes back. He says, why not? That's the next question. So you say no. Now I say, why can't he be wrong? And so I thought about that. And like I say, it was a good question. The answer is, that I gave is, there is no right or wrong on the devotional platform. Even mathematics is different. 1 + 1 = 1. 1 - 1 = 1. It's all absolute. There's no system of reward and punishment which ties in with right or wrong. If you're wrong, you get punished. If you're right, you get rewarded. If you're wrong, you go to hell. If you're right, you go to heaven, right? Right and wrong. But that's not the devotional platform. There isn't any right or wrong. There isn't any past, present, or future. There's no time. I want to speak of birth and death. No heaven or hell, no pain. There's no right or wrong. So because the pure message of Godhead is on that platform, it's beyond punishment. It's beyond right or wrong. And we see that in Lord Chaitanya's prayer also, that if I take birth again and again, just let me engage in devotional activity, devotional service. And even to go, devotee goes to hell, what are they going to do? They're going to preach. They're going to be on the devotional platform. Bali Maharaj was in the hellish planet. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, so then Max has asked another question. See, he's opened up a conversation here. He's trying to understand. He says, there is no right or wrong. According to what standard? This is very good. This reminds me of the 6th canto. Okay? This is the conversation between the Yamadutas and the Vishnu Dutas. So Max is on the position of the Yamadutas. It's like he's saying, who's beyond right or wrong? Who's beyond punishment? This is what the Yamadutas were saying. Who's beyond right or wrong? I know no greater master than Yamaraj, and he rewards and he punishes. So what standard are you talking about? This is the very conversation. I would refer Max to the 6th canto. part 1, chapter chapter 1, the history and the life of Ajamil. Because this is the conversation. There's the same exact thing. And what was it that the see, if you're hearing from Srila Gaurahari Das, then you actually enter into this environment where these kinds of things are going on, okay? Where people are taking the position of Yamadutas, and people are in the situated as Vishnu Dutas. If you're taking shelter, Srila Gaurahari Das, you're more than Vishnu Duta, but you're on the Vishnu Duta side, and you know the truth of this Bhagavatam, and you can explain it to others. You can see their position, what position they're in when they open their mouth. Prabhupada, he said, you can tell a fool when they start to speak. So it's like, what kind of fool? And Prabhupada said, everyone's a fool and a rascal. So as soon as they open their mouth to speak, they're a fool and a rascal. If they're not situated in this devotional platform, they're not in this devotional, these devotional activities, taking shelter of an empowered devotee. Which is why I like to take shelter and hear from Srila Gaurahari Das. So this is, Max is like the Yamadutas. By what authority is Ajamil not punishable? He's wrong. By all standards, he's wrong. So what was the argument that the Vishnu Dutas had? Is that he chanted the holy name purely. Even though Ajamil actually had a very long history of sinful activity. Very long history. Something like the Jaghai and Madhai. It said Jaghai and Madhai had a mountain of sins. It was all recorded. Everything's recorded. They had a mountain of sins. They were punishable for millions of lifetimes for all their sinful activity. But they took shelter of the personality of Godhead. And Lord Nityananda showed them mercy. And they surrendered to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. So all these sins and all this sinful activity, it can be dissolved in an instant. We have our histories here. We have Ajamil, and we have Jaghai and Madhai, and there are more. And Lord Jesus also, there is the pastime of, or he spoke in parables, or at least that's what we have now, are parables, of why someone who has taken shelter early on receives the same wages as someone who comes late in the day. They all get paid the same. How come? Because it doesn't matter. What matters is taking shelter, whether you do it early on or you do it the last minute. It doesn't matter if you actually take shelter. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna. And what is there more love of God? What could be more payment than that? Whether you get it early, you're fortunate, you got it early, you have to go through a whole bunch of stuff. Or you come at the last minute, you're still fortunate. Oh, I could have enjoyed all that sinful activity if I'd known that. No, not really, because there's no guarantee, you know. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. When it's there, take it, whether it's early on or late on. When you recognize the mercy, take it. Hare Krishna. You know, like, I could say that, you know. Well, I've been practicing for like 50 years. My reward should be greater than these people who are coming. Some of them haven't even practiced. How come they get the same mercy? I feel like I'm cheated. No. I'm fine. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. I guess the other side of that is, devotees that are coming now say, wow, you were with Prabhupada, you saw Prabhupada. Yeah, but Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama. It's not like that. It's not like that. We're in the present moment. There was a present moment then, and there's a present moment now. I'm going to stay in the present moment. As far as history goes, it's history. What is it? Bhakti Vinod Thakur says, be with times that are with thee. The past, it sleeps. The future is yet to be. What we have is the present moment. It's kind of like the hedonist philosophy. Eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow we die. Which is kind of the truth if you're in Krishna consciousness. If you're not in Krishna consciousness, you die. If you are in Krishna consciousness, kind of like eat, drink, and be merry in Krishna consciousness, because that's the eternal activity. But, it's not necessarily like, but you're drinking the nectar of the holy name, and you're feasting on the words of God. So eat, drink, and be merry because it's eternal. Hare Krishna. And there's no time like the present. Because there's no time except the present. That's a funny saying. There's no time like the present. Yeah, well, that's because there's no time but the present. So what we want to do is be in the present moment. And Srila Gaurahari is teaching us how to do that because he's in the present moment. Okay, Max. So Max is asking, no right or wrong, according to what standard? Hare Krishna. I just gave him the standard. It's the standard of the spiritual atmosphere. But of course he's looking for quotes. So I want to just read the table of contents for this history of the life of Ajamil. The table of contents reads like a scripture. So, okay, here we go, Max. The path beyond the highest point. They're not actually the chapters, they're the subheadings of what's discussed in Chapter 1. Chapter 1 is the history of the life of Ajamil. And the first subheading is the path beyond the highest point, which means the path beyond reward and punishment, the path beyond right and wrong, the path beyond good and bad, the transcendental path, the path beyond the highest point. Which is the highest point is what? Goodness, right? I was at a meeting yesterday, our old lady Bhagavatam. It's getting kind of spicy in there. It's really heating up. Yeah, it's getting to be kind of fun. So, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. I forgot what I was going to say about that, but something reminded me. Oh well, anyway, maybe it'll come back later. Hare Krishna. Hey, some new faces here. Hey, Cheryl, Hare Krishna. I contacted PETA. Did they contact you? They're interested in helping you. I don't know if they can or not, but I'm sure they have skilled persons. So let's see what happened. They got back with me. And they're really, really enthusiastic about somebody with some skills. So let's see what happens. Just talking about here the history of Ajamil. So the path beyond the highest point being the heavenly planets, mode of goodness. That's got to be the highest point in the material world, right? So this is the path beyond that. Then the next subheading is devotees want to save their fellow man. Okay. Proper atonement counteracts impious deeds. Okay, so now we're still in the material arrangement. This atonement counteracts impious deeds. It's not quite there yet. It's still within the up and down, lower planets, higher. You counteract impious deeds, you can go to the heavenly planets, but that's still within the material creation. Okay? Atonement is compared to bathing of an elephant. Okay, so yeah, there it is. There's the put down. Proper atonement counteracts impious deeds, and what happens? The bathing of an elephant compared to, he goes into the water, he and uses his snout, and he gives himself a shower, he gets all cleaned up, and then he goes out and he rolls in the dirt again. So that's atonement. Okay, that's atonement. And then you have to bathe again, and then atone again. You're the heavenly planets, and you come back down the hellish planets, and the heavenly planets, on and on. Okay. Then the next thing that's discussed in that chapter is a cure for the material disease. How one can uproot sinful desires. We're getting ready for Ajamil. And then, here it is, bhakti. The best thing in this world. It's really not even in this world, bhakti. Because the minute bhakti enters, the world is transformed into the spiritual world. So there's no bhakti in the material world. Bhakti is so pure that as soon as bhakti enters, it's not the material world anymore. That's how powerful bhakti is. And that's how powerful Asuddha bhakti is. As soon as Asuddha bhakti is present, it's not the material world anymore. Because the atmosphere that they create by their Suddha bhakti is actually the spiritual world. Next little section. Devotees never even dream of death. That means there's no fear. What is the thing that keeps us from developing pure love and affection? It's fear. 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 So when there is no fear of death, then love and devotion can come. And why are people afraid of death? It's a huge interruption and they don't know where they're going. Did they do enough good deeds to go higher to the heavenly planets? Or are they going to have to suffer and go to some lesser situation? Or even worse, they don't even know that they're going up and down. They don't even know what comes after death. They think that's all there is this life, this body. So that's a lot of fear. It's fear of the unknown. So devotees never even dream of death. They have no fear. Why? Because they're situated in this devotional atmosphere. They're filled with this bhakti. Hare Krishna, which is a whole different atmosphere from the material world. The story of the fallen Ajamil. Okay, so that was like a little introduction, and then enters Ajamil. We're going to talk about his life. Ajamil's 10th and special son, whom we know he named Narayana. Ajamil was a very old man, and he was still having all kinds of sex activity. Duh. But somehow he remembered that the holy names of the Lord have potency, and he had some fondness for his son, so he named him Narayan. Good move, Ajamil. Ajamil chants at the time of death. Yeah. He was old, it was time to go, and his small son was playing nearby. He was just a baby, and he was attracted to that infant, that child, and he was leaving. That's natural for very old people. I notice that really old people, they get a special fondness for children, especially little ones, little children. They, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 1 years old, 2 years old, 3, the ones that are going goo goo gaga, and then the ones that are kind of having difficulty walking and, do funny little things. They have special attraction for it. I notice that. Like, especially with my mother. Oh my God, you couldn't go shopping with her without her stopping and talking and playing with each child in somebody's shopping basket. She had to spend hours with them. Oh, look! She'd go running up to the You know, it didn't matter if they had parents or not. She was like right there in the child's face. And same with my father when he got older. Oh, the eyes get big and they say. So Ajamil, he was very, very old, and he had this very, very small child, was very attractive to him, and he had named him Narayan. And he had this natural affection for, grandparents go through that with their grandchildren also. They love to play with their grandchildren, and that has a special added benefit because they can play with the grandchild, and when the kid needs servicing, either has to eat or he gets fussy or something, they just hand him back to the parents. They get to play with them. So Ajamil was like that. He had this small child, and he called out to his son with full love and attraction, the beauty of his child. Narayan. He was leaving. He called out, Narayan. That was it. That was it. That's the power of the holy name. He wasn't even calling out for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. None of that. This small, beautiful little child was in front of him, and he called out, Narayan. He didn't want to leave Narayan. See? He was attracted to Narayan. He was leaving as he didn't want to leave Narayan. He didn't want Narayan to go. He wanted Narayan. No, don't go. I don't want to go. I want to be with Narayan. 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 So, Hare Krishna is our lesson from Ajamil. Wait a minute, can't see. Oh, Krishna. Woo. And this is why I like to hear from Srila Gaurahari Das. Krishna, because hearing about these devotional pastimes and stories, they're not stories, they're histories. The understanding goes very deep, so that within yourself, you can feel the transformation within yourself. And they make sense devotionally. You can feel the presence of the Lord. And relish is very relishable. I mean, why do people go to the movies? Because they want to laugh and cry and they want to experience something, right? Well, these aren't movies. And by laughing and crying, experiencing this, you get to go to Narayan. Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. No, I forgot to turn the do not disturb sign off. Oh well. Hare Krishna, we'll deal with it. Okay, so Narayan, Ajamil chants at the time of death. And the servants of death are surprised. They're surprised. How is he chanting like he's a very sinful man? It's very sinful. He's ours. We've come here to take him to, sort out what was right and what was wrong in his life, sort out the good and the bad, sort out the sinful and the pious. There wasn't any much pious in his life, so he's going to go down, and he's ours. But the next little section discusses how God's messengers intervene. That real religion exists eternally. Real religion exists eternally. So this was Max's question. There is no right or wrong, according to what standard? According to the standard of real religion. Max, real religion. It exists eternally. There's no right or wrong. There's no up or down. There's no punishment or reward. Real religion exists eternally. And the goal of it isn't higher planets. The goal of it is to stay in the bhakti environment. Bhakti is potency of the Lord. It's an eternal potency, devotional potency. And that's why I like to hear from Srila Gaurahari, because he's situated in that bhakti potency. Krishna, Asura Bhakta. How the Supreme Lord controls the universe. So then there's a discussion there. Nature and God witness our activities. So they're arguing back and forth. See? Krishna. Karma in the past and future lives. Yamaraj, the Lord of Death. These are all discussed in this chapter. And the lonely struggle for existence. The living entity traps himself in the roots of reincarnation. It's a little bit of Ajamil's history, how he was born in a Brahmin family and he became attracted to a prostitute and activity with a prostitute means, in order to support her and their sex life, he couldn't be a Brahmin anymore, so he didn't fit into society, and he was lying and cheating and stealing and who knows what else to get money because of his attachment for this type of life. Servants of death give their verdict. So they point out all his sinful activities, lying and stealing, his degraded sex life, his unregulated, undisciplined way of living, his indulgence in sense gratification, and his sinful activities, disturbing others. They point all that out and they give their verdict. He's guilty, he's ours. Okay, they couldn't be denied. He did all those things. He was a bad guy, okay? You wouldn't want to meet him in a dark alley. Trust me. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Now, chapter 2, Ajamil's delivered by the Vishnu Dutas. Now the Vishnu Dutas give their counter-argument, which is beyond right or wrong, which means Ajamil couldn't even be held accountable in that court. The jurisdiction for Ajamil was beyond even a trial and jury by Yamaraj. There was no question of his being sinful or not. He was beyond that. There was no sin. He was completely purified. By what? By calling out the Lord's name with pure love and affection. There's another thing that I'm remembering here that I remember some of the disciples were saying they were getting married and they were having children. This was early on. And they were saying how it was difficult for them to do the deity worship because children, especially small children, they're up all night, they cry, and they have to be attended to, especially the woman, if she's breastfeeding the child, it's all times of day, and she couldn't engage in deity worship, which is very regulated, and you have to be clean, and the mother is like, changing diapers all day. She'd have to be showering all day, and how could she breastfeed the child because it's right when the noon arti gets it. So the questions were coming. I can't serve the deities. And Prabhupada said, for the parents, the child is the deity. The child is the deity for the parents. He said like that. So here, Arjamil is calling out to his child. It was his deity. His child was his deity. And his deity's name was Narayan. Interesting, huh? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Especially in this age, it's not about deity worship anyway, it's about the holy name. So worshiping the deity, the Lord very mercifully appears like that to help the devotees. But to worship the deity without chanting in front of the deity, it's not going to fly in this age. See, worshiping the deity, offering this and offering that and doing all sorts of things is there, but the chanting of the holy name is there. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Because the worship in this age is the chanting of the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Interesting. Krishna, Ajamil, attachment to his child, his deity. So then the Vishnu Dutas, they reply, they say, this is what's discussed in this chapter, needless punishment of sinless persons. That's what's discussed. How? All of a sudden, Ajamil had become a sinless person? This was astonishing. What? Hare Krishna. Now, the Vishnu Dutas, they recognized the extraordinary character of the Yamadutas. Their bodies were glowing, they were very beautiful, they were obviously empowered in a special way that the Yamadutas were not familiar with. They'd never met the Vishnu Dutas. They only knew Yamaraj as their master. And this was extraordinary for them to meet these personalities intervening like this, coming out of somewhere and intervening. The Vishnu Dutas, the Yamadutas evidently didn't even have information beyond this universe. And the Vishnu Dutas were coming from outside the material universe. Okay, then this discussed the duty of government, and millions of lifetimes can be purified by chanting. Chanting delivers even thieves, murderers, and fornicators. Hare Krishna. Well, that's good news, isn't it? For the world. Chanting delivers even thieves, murderers, and fornicators. There's the good news. Remember one time there was a street festival. I was living in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And some devotees had come to where I was living, and we had set up a table outside, a little bit of ways from the entrance to this huge street festival. And it was a main stream of traffic going by there to get into the festival. And we were just there chanting. We had a little table with some books on it, and we had kartals and mridanga, and we were chanting at the table as everybody passed by. It was pretty high, really. Everyone would look, It's like when you see cows, they all stare at the same time. They would all look. We got everybody's attention. But across the street, there was kind of a... Now, the Christians, they have their difficulties too. Some are more in love with God, and some are more angry. This was an angry one, and he didn't like Krishna, and he had a megaphone. And he was screaming all kinds of abuse about Krishna through the megaphone. He had a group with him also across the street. And instead of glorifying Jesus, like we were glorifying Krishna in the holy name, he was hurling all kinds of abuse, and he was yelling at the people, "You fornicators, you murderers, you thieves!" He was, as if that was attractive. I guess he had the right idea that surrendering to Jesus, or the representative of the Lord, the Son of God, that you could get free from those things. But he was shouting those things more than he was shouting the name. I didn't hear him say the name of God once, except to say something bad about Krishna. Like, don't listen to those Hare Krishnas. They're from the devil. You don't want that. You fornicators, you thieves, you murderers. I don't think I heard him say the name of Jesus once, or even God. He was just yelling at everyone how they were so bad. So, that's not so cool, really. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. I can kind of understand his mentality a little bit, he's struggling with those things within himself, obviously, or he wouldn't focus on them. Another time I was selling some flowers on a street corner, and the thing he liked to do was, he had this huge wooden cross on wheels. He would drag it through the streets. And he dressed himself up to look like Jesus, and he would drag himself through the street with this huge wooden cross on his back. And I was standing there on the corner, he knew that I was a devotee of Krishna, and I was just selling flowers to try and make a couple of bucks to take care of things. And he came up to me with this huge wooden cross. He started yelling at me, "This chanting will not help, will not help you. It's of the devil. It's no good. Don't chant Hare Krishna. No, no." You know how they do that sometimes, a little, it's some kind of strange thing they're in there. And I just wanted to get away from him, so I picked up my little bucket of flowers and I was trying. And he was chasing me down the street with this cross on wheels, screaming at me, "Don't chant Hare Krishna." No. And it was very funny. It was hilarious. It was so outrageous that people were noticing this, because I was on a busy street. Not so much walking traffic, but cars. And everyone was watching this very unusual scene. And a man and his wife stopped their car and got out. They were very upset. And they stopped this man with this cross on wheels and made him go away. They intervened. They saved me from this. I was very thankful. I had a lot of interaction with this guy because he was on the street and I was on the street. And so that was kind of funny. But yeah, his preaching thing was to point out all this sinful activity. Hare Krishna, and that's all he screamed about. It's all that came through his microphone was thieves, murderers, fornicators, and other things came through his microphone. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. He had a following. But chanting here does deliver even thieves, murderers, and even that guy. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. It says, next little section, chanting absolves one from hell. This is the Vishnu Dutas presenting their case. The Lord's name burns to ashes all sinful reaction. Death's ropes are cut. Ajamil regrets his past sinful life. So Ajamil was witnessing this conversation between the Vishnu Dutas and the Yama Dutas. He's on his deathbed, he's leaving. The Yama Dutas are there with ropes, and they were not very easy to look at. Their forms were pretty scary forms. And then the beautiful forms of the Vishnu Dutas, just lovely, attractive forms, and they're arguing. Where is he going to go? Is he going to go with these ugly, horrible, scary, frightening, ready to punish and torture types? Or is he going to go with the Vishnu Dutas, beyond death, beyond fear, into an environment filled with ecstasy? Is he going to go there? And he's hearing the arguments. So Ajamil begins to regret his past life. He sees his mistakes. Why he was saved from the hellish world, he starts to understand this. In other words, he's getting some intelligence by association with those that are engaged in devotional service. He's starting to get some mercy from the Lord, because the Vishnu Dutas are intervening on his behalf, on the Lord's behalf. They were sent by Narayan because he called out for Narayan, so Narayan sent his Vishnu Dutas. We must all have his determination. Okay? And then Ajamil didn't go exactly back right then and there, in the airplane, gone. No, he was given a little more time in the body. He didn't die at that time, exactly. But he managed to extricate himself from his sinful life, even at a very old age. And it says he went to Hardwar and practiced devotional activities and gained his spiritual body. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. And then the Vishnu Dutas go back to Yamaraj and they're like, he got away. It's like the fish that got away, right? He got away. We couldn't get him. And he had all that sinful activity. They have all these questions for Yamaraj. Who are those Vishnu Dutas that intervened? We can't understand. What is that authority that's higher? Which is exactly what Mr. Max is asking. He's saying, there is no right or wrong, or there is no sinful activity. According to what standard is there no sinful activity? According to what standard is someone not punishable? According to what standard would Srila Gaurahari Das not be wrong in anything? According to what standard? There's your answer. Bhakti. Pure bhakti. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. It's what saved Yama, it's what saved Ajamil. And it's what saved those two characters. Why is their name skipped my mind? Jagai and Madhai. Because Lord Nityananda intervened. See, there's always an intervention. The Lord himself was ready to punish. Hare Krishna. Sachi, Sachi. The Lord himself was ready to punish Jagai and Madhai. He's ready to send them out of that body and they would be held accountable for all their sinful activity, which was like mountains. Of course, being killed directly by the Lord has another effect. Being directly killed. See, Lord Chaitanya never actually killed anyone, if you'll notice. He never killed anybody, because that wasn't his mission, to kill the demons. He wanted to kill the demonic mentality. The demons, at some points, can be considered outside, and then the devotees and the demons are like externally, you can kill a demon outside. But in the Kali Yuga, the demons are also inside. Everyone. So that's why Lord Nityananda said, well, you'd have to kill everyone. If you kill them, you'll have to kill everyone, because they all have demons in them. There are no Brahmins, or not really, and you'll have to kill all of them. It's Kali Yuga. So instead of doing that, he killed the demonic mentality. And that's Lord Chaitanya's mission. Krishna actually killed. He cut heads off left and right, and there were wars, and relieved the burden of the earth by destroying all the impious leaders. And you had the Battle of Kurukshetra, they were all killed. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. But that's not the Lord's mission now, to kill like that. So he was tempted to. He had his chakra. Now, Lord Chaitanya is manifestation of Radha and Krishna. So that was the Krishna part coming out, because Srimati Radharani doesn't do the chakra thing. So that was the Vishnu part, the Krishna part coming out to kill the demon. Lord Nityananda appealed to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu not to manifest that. Hare Krishna. And when Jagai and Madhai saw that conversation between Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya, then they surrendered. Just like Ajamil is seeing the conversation between the Yamadutas and the Vishnu Dutas, and he's surrendering. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, I hope that helps Max with his question, according to what standard, no right or wrong. My experience is, you can try to explain to people like this, but they're usually fixed in their understanding and they really don't get it. But you can plant a little seed there. Just like people read this 6th canto, chapter 1, the history of Ajamil, and they find it very attractive. But that's all. And then they just stay fixed in wherever they're at in terms of what's right and what's wrong. Or if they're on the mode of goodness, they'll just stay fixed in the mode of goodness and they don't get out. So I can try, but I don't expect any miracles from Max. I don't expect any miracles. I don't expect his heart to be transformed by hearing this message. As a matter of fact, he'll probably get very upset and angry and throw some poo-poo in my face. Krishna! I, just won't get it. Can't feel it, can't experience it. Fixed on this mental, trying to understand these things mentally. And that's what happens with Srila Gaurahari. He's on the bhakti platform. Okay? When he speaks, he's speaking from the platform of Sudha Bhakti, pure bhakti. Okay? And these people that come and they argue and everything, they're not on that platform of bhakti. So they have all these other arguments that are tied in with reward and punishment, good and bad, right and wrong. They come. That's what arguing means. You want to argue who's right and who's wrong. Right? But that's not what goes on here. It's not, there is no right or wrong. It's simply bhakti. And moods of bhakti and pastimes. That's the atmosphere. So if somebody enters this atmosphere, is it right and wrong? They stick out like a sore thumb. If they are not really taking advantage of the bhakti atmosphere. They're still caught in reward and punishment, and which ties in with profit and loss, good and bad, and Krishna explains in the Gita, that's all on the material plane. It's all on the material plane. They're not on the devotional plane. For that, the Lord has to be awakened within the heart, and one's activities are all in relationship with what pleases the Lord. Hare Krishna, and he lets you know when he's not pleased, and very natural way, because of that loving relationship with the Lord, those things that don't please him, they have no appeal. And this is the spontaneous path, raganuga path. And this is the path back to the highest planet in the spiritual sky, the Krishna Loka planet, planet of pastimes, personality, Godhead, Krishna. So it's a good question, Max. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. I can't make you understand anything, especially if you don't want to understand, if your mood is only to challenge. But I can present, or try to, and then wish you well on your way. And if you end up, sputtering, spitting and sputtering, poison and anger, which is what people usually do. Hare Krishna, they have no taste. This is medicine. This bhakti is medicine. But if someone has, like, jaundice, it makes sugar taste bitter. But the cure for the jaundice, Prabhupada talked about this a lot. The cure for the jaundice is the sugar. And by taking the sugar as much as possible, the jaundice is actually cured. And then you can taste again the sweetness. It's not bitter. But in the beginning, it's very bitter. When there's sweetness there, it's bitter. It tastes like bitter medicine. Krishna! So, if you hang around a Sudha Bhakta, these kinds of things happen. And that's what's going on. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. So that was the Krishna. Oh, there's an interesting chapter here. Narada Muni, chapter 5, cursed. Right. Oh, yeah, okay. Boy, Prajapati Daksha was like a trip, wasn't he? He cursed Narada Muni. Wow. No wonder he lost his head. Cursed Narada Muni. Wouldn't offer obeisances to Lord Shiva. Wow. Daksha, this powerful Brahmin type, right? cursed Narada Muni. Wouldn't offer respect to Shiva. My goodness. So, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. So that was fun for this morning. I guess. Be nice, Meena. Okay, Sachi, for you I'll be nice. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.